Master clearly possesses countless orthodox cultivation techniques. But on the day I became her disciple, she insisted on giving me a dual cultivation manual. In everyone's eyes, she is a lofty, cold, and elegant immortal maiden, while I am just a 6-year-old child, new to cultivation. I had thought she simply chose me for my cultivation talent. But after learning that, in the entire sect, only Master and I practiced this dual cultivation method, I immediately felt uneasy. Just a few days ago, the annual spiritual vein assessment day for my family began. The family patriarch, the Kangming, sat at the head seat. The 9 elders of the family sat on both sides. Everyone's faces were filled with anticipation. No one knew how many of these children this year would have spiritual veins. Several elders of the family with impressive grades chatted as the tests continued on the round platform. The zoo yellow grade upper. The host suddenly raised his voice, revealing uncontrollable joy. As soon as he finished speaking, the entire plaza buzzed loudly. Instantly, it erupted in excitement. Yellow grade upper? Looks like the family's luck is good this year. Seems like we're about to produce another elder-level figure. On the high platform, Patriarch, the Kangming, and the 9 elders applauded and laughed heartily, their faces filled with gratification. Amid a sea of envious and jealous gazes, a young girl in a white dress walked proudly like a peacock, gracefully stepping down from the test platform. At that moment, the host's voice sounded again, completely calm. Next, the Chenner, go ahead. Don't be afraid. My mother, Lin Wanqing, gently patted my hand. I nodded firmly, took a deep breath, under countless watching eyes. I stepped onto the round platform that would decide my fate. Just as I steadied myself, the crowd immediately burst into unabashed discussion. The Shan? Which branch is he from? How come I've never heard of him? Hey, who else could he be? Second young master's illegitimate child from a concubine. So he's a bastard son. Well, then that's nothing. These words felt like 1,000 needles, piercing my heart painfully. But I just stood there expressionless. Since childhood, I've heard stuff like this so much my ears might as well be calloused. Put your hand up. Relax, said the host in a formulaic tone. I followed his instructions without a word. The moment my palm touched the cold stone tablet, that familiar tension actually faded away. Right after, a warm current surged from the tablet into my limbs and bones. Then a miracle happened. The light on the tablet shot up like a lit fuse, rushing wildly upward. 1, 2, 3. 7 rays. 7 dazzling lights soared into the sky, illuminating the entire plaza as bright as day. There was a thunderous bang. On the high platform, Patriarch the Changming was so excited he smashed his sandalwood chair to pieces with a slap. Suddenly stood up, his face written with unprecedented shock. After a brief moment of silence, the whole plaza erupted. 7 rays of light. Earth grade lower. It's Earth grade lower. Spiritual veins, my God. Did I see that right? An absolute prodigy. The family has produced a true dragon. The host on stage was so surprised his eyes nearly popped. His mouth was open wide enough to fit an egg. Completely forgot what he was supposed to do. Just then, a powerful, thunderous shout rang out, like thunder exploding, instantly silencing the crowd. Shadow guards, where are you? Seal the venue immediately. No one is allowed in or out. It was the voice of Patriarch the Kangming. In an instant, figures in black robes appeared as if from nowhere, blocking the entire plaza airtight. I felt dizzy for a moment, and the man who was supposedly my grandfather appeared before me as if teleporting. He stared at me intensely, eyes filled with joy, shock, and a hint of emotion I couldn't understand. Honestly, being stared at like that made me extremely uncomfortable. After all, since childhood, I've seen him so few times I could count them on one hand. At the same time, a thought popped into my mind. Lower grade might not be my limit. Before I could think more, a few elders quickly flew to my side, each smiling so brightly it looked like they were blooming, checking on me with warm concern, treating me even more affectionately than my real grandfather. But Patriarch the Kangming's joy lasted only a moment, before his brows knitted tightly.
He knew clearly in his heart.
News of my Earth grade spiritual vein couldn't be hidden. If the other three major families in Qingyang City found out, they would definitely not be happy for the family. They'd only feel threatened. A future supreme powerhouse is enough to break Qingyang City's balance. For self-preservation, their only option would be to kill me in the cradle. At this thought, the Kangming's eyes flashed with ruthless intent. He suddenly turned around and barked sharply at the elders. Gather all the family spirit pills and come with me to the Qin family immediately. All the elders were confused. Patriarch, what's going on? The Kangming scanned everyone. His voice was icy cold. You think those two old foxes from the Wang and Li families will just watch as a dragon rises in the family? Everyone's faces changed instantly. Immediately they understood. Then we'll go try at the Qin family. An elder hurriedly asked. On the Kangming's face, a mysterious smile suddenly appeared. He declared aloud, marriage proposal. And so, half an hour later, Patriarch the Chongming personally led the group, along with 9 family elders, riding tall horses, majestically toward the Murong mansion. Our mounts were extremely fast, and soon arrived at the impressive Murong mansion. Very quickly, Qin family patriarch Murong Zhong and his leaders hurried out, greeting us with laughter. Brother Li, what an honor. A rare guest. A rare guest indeed. The atmosphere in the Qin family hall was a bit strange. Patriarch Murong Zhong's gaze kept scanning me up and down. At last, he couldn't hold back. Brother, what's going on in your gourd? What are you really here for? Why not just say it directly? The Kangming smiled and waved. Brother Qin, don't rush. Let me explain. He pulled me to his side and announced loudly, Brother Qin, today is my family's spiritual vein registration day. Thanks to heaven's favor, the family produced an exceptional talent, which is my grandson, the Shan. Murong Zhong sneered internally. So all this was just to show off? He cooperated with a strained smile. So what grade is talented nephew's spiritual vein? That the brother made such a big scene. The Kangming smiled slightly, voice calm, but every word thunderous. Earth grade lower. What? Patriarch Murong? Murong Zhong shot to his feet, face full of disbelief. Every Qin family member in the hall was stunned, dead silent. Sure. Grandpa the Chongming saw this and burst out laughing. Brother Qin, I came here today to propose marriage for my grandson to your Qin family. I wish to arrange a marriage between him and your granddaughter Murong Zhu. Murong Zhong was a shrewd man. After his shock, he quickly figured out the reason behind it. The family has produced a genius, but that also made them a common target. This is an attempt to pull the Qin family in, forming an alliance. He glanced at my expressionless face, then at the earnest de Kanglin.
His mind raced.
This was a huge opportunity, but also a huge risk. Brother, this is a serious matter. I get it, Grandpa cut him off directly. As long as Brother Qin nods, the family is willing to offer the 3 most profitable shops in East City as the betrothal gift. Murong Zhong's pupils shrank. That was a huge offer. He half-jokingly probed. Brother, it's not that I don't trust you. It's just that years ago my granddaughter Ruwaksu showed 5 rays of light in her test, making her a top-level yellow grade. I was ecstatic at the time. So what kind of glory does a low earth grade bring? I honestly haven't seen one. He wanted to verify in person. But Grandpa wasn't mad. In fact, he laughed. No problem, Wushwang. Let your Grandpa Murong witness it. Soon, a spiritual testing chalice was brought up. I stepped forward and confidently placed my hand on it. Whoosh! 7 dazzling rays of light shot up to the sky once again, making the whole hall as bright as day. Good, good, good. Murong Zhong repeated good 3 times, a wide smile on his face. With such a gifted grandson, brother how could my Qin family pass up this union? I accept. I quietly sat to the side, feeling nothing inside. Political marriage is acceptable. In this world where the strong rule, being weak is a sin. To survive, and to protect those I care about, proper compromises and leveraging the rules are the first laws of survival. The engagement was soon signed. Grandpa immediately got down to business. Brother Qin, we are family now. The Wang and Li families are ambitious to keep Wushwang safe. I'm planning to take him to Zhuanshan Academy right away, to make him a disciple of a great Tianyang realm master. Zhuanshan Academy. Zhong was shocked again, then immediately overjoyed. Amazing! With a Chanyang master as our backer, who would dare touch Wushuang? I understand, brother. The Qin family will go with you. Second and third son, you stay behind. Everyone else, escort Wushuang to the capital with me. And so, a group composed of the two family heads, and over a dozen elders formed an escort team, and headed out grandly from Qingyang City. But not long after we left the city, we were blocked. On a small hill, the Wang and Li family heads waited with their men, glaring at us with dark expressions. The Changming, you old fox. You're pretty quick, huh? The Wang family head sneered. Grandpa just snorted. If you want to fight here, you're welcome to try. After a brief standoff, seeing our obviously stronger side, the Wang and Li families clenched their teeth and stepped aside. We left that same night. A piece of news spread as if it had wings, flying all over Zhuangshan Valley and Qingyang City. The family produced a peerless genius with a low earth-grade spiritual vein. The world was instantly shaken. Countless factions moved at once. When we stopped at a small town, the scout's report made Grandpa's face turn grim. So that night, Grandpa and I fled at top speed, traveling all night until dawn, and only stopped at a city gate. Before entering, he freed the fire lion horse that had accompanied him for years, then dressed me in a girl's dress. My mouth hung open as I stared at the cute little girl in the mirror. In the end, I swallowed my words. Fine, survival is most important. And so we disguised ourselves along the way, avoiding the constant search everywhere. I even heard that a Tianyang master arrived in Qingyang City, wanting to take me as a disciple, but ran into a dead end. Over a month later, a gigantic, indescribable city finally appeared before us. We had arrived at Zhuangshan's capital. We headed straight for Zhuangshan Academy, but were stopped at the gate by the guards. Enrollment was over. Come back next year. Grandpa sighed, knowing we couldn't get in against the rules. Next, he took a deep breath and mustered his dwindling spiritual power, his voice thundering like a bell, shouting deeply into the academy grounds. The Shan from the family of Qingyang City, here to seek a master. His voice crashed out like thunder, echoing everywhere. Are you looking for death? The guard was about to get angry. Buzz! All of a sudden, from deep inside the academy, 6 terrifying auras pierced the sky, turning into 6 streams of light, appearing above us in a flash. My good disciple, your master has finally waited for you. These old men dare fight over disciples in front of me. 6 Tianyang experts. All came just for me. The onlookers instantly went crazy, flying and leaping. 6 Tianyang giants. Who's that kid? The Shan, the genius with the earth-grade spiritual vein. The 6 masters landed, staring at me with burning eyes, all eager to accept me as their disciple. Just as they were about to argue, a gentle breeze floated by, and a woman in a white dress, pure as snow, appeared silently before me. The moment she arrived, the world seemed to fall silent. Even all 6 Tianyang masters bowed in respect. Greetings, senior. Her eyes, pure as autumn water, fell on me. Her voice was clear and cool as spring water. Ding dong, are you here to test your spiritual vein? I dumbly nodded. With a wave of her fair hand, a spiritual testing monument appeared out of thin air. Without thinking, I placed my hand on it for the 3rd time. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The stone monument vibrated intensely. Light burst forth again. 1, 2, 7 rays, and it didn't stop at 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, a full 12. 12 dazzling beams of light, so bright they seemed to punch a hole in the sky. The crowd went dead silent. The next second, it erupted into a wave of shocked shouts. 12 lights. It's 12 lights. A top-tier heaven grade. It's the legendary heaven grade, top tier. Staring at those 12 blinding rays, I was utterly stunned. Heaven grade top tier. I'm actually a heaven grade top tier. The crowd instantly went wild. Countless people were losing their minds. A heaven grade top tier spiritual vein. That's something you won't find anywhere on the continent. They are all exceptional geniuses, rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. I can't believe such talent appeared in our humble Zhuangshan kingdom. In that moment, I felt like everything around me was just a dream. Many people even started to doubt whether there was a problem with the spirit monument used for testing. Then, those 6 Tianyang realm experts completely disregarded the identity of the woman in white and rushed to surround me. Their gazes were so intense they almost turned red. The way they looked at me was like they found a priceless treasure. No one could stay calm anymore. "Quick, use another spirit cup and test again," someone urged anxiously. I was still standing there in a daze, my heart filled with turmoil. Previously, I was tested twice in Qingyang City, and both times, it showed an earth-grade, lower-quality spiritual vein. So how did I suddenly transform into a heaven-grade, high-quality spiritual vein here in the capital? Just then, a loud voice rang out. I knew everyone turned to look, and it turned out to be my grandfather, the Changming. Countless intense and confused looks instantly fell on him. Grandpa looked visibly pressured, but he still forced himself to stay calm. With an awkward expression, he explained, "The person with the highest level of key training in Qingyang City is only a 3-star key trainer, so the spirit monument used in Qingyang City should all be defective products. At most, it can only detect earth-grade, lower-quality spiritual veins." He paused for a moment and continued, saying he already knew about this. But in the past, it was difficult enough for Qingyang City to produce someone with a Zhuan-grade, lower-quality spiritual vein. The talent for spiritual veins was always rare, so even those defective spirit cups were enough for testing. Eventually, this fact was just forgotten. I see. Everyone suddenly realized the truth. I also resolved a lingering doubt in my heart. No wonder, during the first 2 tests, I always felt like there was some power that hadn't fully shown itself. But one Tianyang realm expert still wasn't reassured, and took out a new spirit cup for testing. He wanted me to test again. But just as he was about to hand it to me, he suddenly stopped in his tracks, because the woman in white moved. She came up to me, leaned forward slightly, and took hold of my wrist. From her gaze, I could see some surprise, but even more confusion. My heart skipped a beat. She must be a truly powerful figure. Even Tianyang realm experts treat her with respect and bow to her. She remained unshaken even before a heaven-grade spiritual vein. My wrist was held by her, and I felt a gentle, smooth sensation like jade. I didn't resist, letting a warm flow of spiritual energy follow my palm into my body and start moving around and probing everywhere. I quietly looked at her delicate features, and because we're so close, a few strands of her hair even draped in front of my eyes. A faint fragrance wafted over, and then I watched as the confusion in her gaze gradually faded away, replaced by a shock she couldn't hide, which filled her eyes completely. That expression, combined with her frosty, ethereal aura, really created a strange contrast. Just what did she find out from probing my body? I was full of confusion, but I didn't ask. Everyone watched the scene in bewilderment, and those 6 Tianyang realm experts looked like they wanted to speak but held back. I guess they were all nervous inside, worried that this senior might snatch the disciple from them. And sure enough, the next thing that happened left them in despair. The woman in white spoke gently, then paused, as if searching for the right words. Finally, she almost unconsciously asked, "Are you willing to take me as your master?"
No.
"How could you, senior? That's not right." Among the 6 Tianyang realm experts nearby, someone immediately couldn't help blurting out. The woman in white remained calm, just gave him a faint glance. Can you guarantee the safety of a genius with a heaven-grade, high-quality spiritual vein?" That Tianyang realm expert was instantly speechless. Right, a genius with a heaven-grade, high-quality spiritual vein, now appearing in the world, is no less than dropping a deep-water bomb on the whole continent. Countless old monsters and powerful experts will certainly flock to this news. He's just a mere Tianyang realm. That's nothing. If someone harbors bad intentions, he won't be able to protect this person. He'd be crushed. Even easier than crushing an ant. That expert was full of frustration. Opportunity is right in front of him, but he doesn't have the right to claim it. That feeling was pure torture. He wanted to say, "Can you guarantee his safety?" But as soon as he thought of her unfathomable strength and her surname, he chose to keep quiet with no more resistance. His hopes completely shattered. The woman in white looked at me again, took a deep breath, no longer hesitated, stepped back a few paces, and respectfully bowed to him. When Master heard my answer, the woman in white's face finally revealed a faint smile. With that smile, it felt as though the scenery around us brightened. I am your teacher, and my name is Su Qingyan. That name really does have an ethereal quality. I nodded quietly and kept it in my heart. Then Su Qingyan looked at my grandpa. You are his elder from the clan. Grandpa quickly replied, I'm his grandfather. Su Qingyan nodded softly and flicked her finger lightly. A space ring floated gently in front of Grandpa. He carefully took it, involuntarily extending his consciousness into it. The next second, his eyes instantly widened, completely astonished. I could imagine his shock at that moment. Piles and piles of spirit stones stacked up like mountains. Countless elixirs and spiritual treasures quietly lying inside. Grandpa was overjoyed, but even more deeply amazed. Such generosity! Who exactly is this woman? With such vast resources, she gives them away just like that. It's like handing out pocket money. The people around who saw Grandpa's expression immediately knew how precious this greeting gift was. If nothing else, just a space ring alone is already an extremely valuable treasure. But at this moment, no one dared to have any greedy thoughts. Didn't you see the 6 Tianyang realm experts? All respectfully treating this mysterious woman. Whatever she gives away, no one dares covet it, unless they have a death wish. From now on, this child will cultivate with me at Zhuanshan Academy. After Su Qingyan gave out the space ring, she spoke plainly. Grandpa naturally had no objections. He would follow whatever senior ordered. Today, for Grandpa, his emotions have gone up and down, one surprise after another. First, I was confirmed to have a heaven-grade, high-quality spiritual vein. That's the kind of luck people pray for their whole lives. Then I successfully became the disciple of a mysterious expert, which means no more worries about safety in the future. After all, this new master has an extraordinary and otherworldly presence. His strength is unfathomable.
He can casually provide resources
that could support a family for decades. Most importantly, even knowing how extraordinary my talent is, he still dared to take the initiative to accept me as a disciple. Without immense strength and a powerful background, how could he be so bold? At this moment, Grandpa can't stop smiling. Then Su Qingyan took my hand and led me into Zhuanshan Academy. Only 6 Tianyang realm experts were left behind, shaking their heads and sighing in disappointment. However, I know this matter will not end so easily. A far greater storm is quickly brewing. Just like that, Su Qingyan held my hand. As we walked along the paths inside Zhuanshan Academy, I looked a little uneasy. After all, in my past life, I was just a regular college student with barely any experience in relationships. Suddenly being this close to a goddess-like beauty and getting so intimate, it was hard not to feel awkward, especially since Su Qingyan has such a cold and elegant demeanor. She didn't say a single word the whole way, which made it even harder for me to know what to say. She walked very slowly, almost like we were taking a stroll. Maybe it was because she was holding my hand, so she purposely slowed down. I even wondered in my heart, why not just fly with me? But this woman really feels like an immortal. I can't figure her out. The interior of Zhuanshan Academy is huge. We walked for quite a while, before reaching the foot of a small, tree-surrounded mountain. We entered the forest. Suddenly, the air in front of us rippled, like a gentle wave spreading across a calm lake. Master, what's this?
I looked up and asked curiously.
This is an illusion array I set up to conceal my residence and keep outsiders from disturbing me. Su Qingyan patiently explained. I nodded in understanding.
Hearing her call herself master
still feels a little odd. After passing through the illusion array, a tastefully furnished wooden cabin appeared before me. This must be where Su Qingyan cultivates in seclusion. We entered the cabin. The interior was simple, with only a bed, a set of table and chairs, and a few meditation cushions. We sat facing each other on the cushions. Regarding your talent, as your master, I need to tell you the truth. After we sat down, Su Qingyan was the first to speak. I immediately straightened my posture. This was exactly what I was most concerned and confused about. She slowly began and said, You should know that spiritual veins are classified into 4 levels: heaven, earth, mysterious, and yellow. Each level is divided into upper, middle, and lower ranks. But for a person, talent actually has a ceiling. A heaven-ranked spiritual vein is that limit. Those qualified enough to cross this threshold often possess traits that set them apart from others. They are born with some kind of special talent. You could also say they have a unique physique, such as the water spirit body, the wind thunder mystic body, and so on. I nodded, to show my understanding. So, Master, is it because my talent is outstanding? And you think I possess a special physique? Su Qing'an broke out in a slight sweat. That's right, so I was just checking you out, to see what kind of physique you have. But the result was far beyond my expectations. I immediately became curious, pressed on and asked, is my physique really that powerful? Judging from his shocked expression just now, it can't be that my physique is weak, right? That's right. Your physique is extremely powerful, Su Qing'an affirmed. So what is my physique called? What special abilities does it have? I asked again with some excitement. Su Qing'an didn't answer directly. Instead, she continued to explain. Although special physiques may be rare in certain regions, or during certain eras, the Tianqian continent is vast and boundless, and its history is incredibly ancient, with the passage of countless ages. The types of special physiques number as many as the stars. Among the many special physiques, a few are the most powerful, even surpassing the heavenly level spiritual veins. People call them the 10 sacred bodies. Of course, 10 is just an arbitrary number. How many sacred bodies actually exist is no longer known. At this point, Su Qing'an paused, then looked at me seriously and said, but your physique is something I've never even heard of, nor have I ever seen it. It's pure like a newborn baby, as blank as a piece of white paper. It seems to have no special abilities at all, and yet, as if it can encompass all things. Whatever you draw on this piece of paper, that's the ability it will have. And one thing I'm certain of is, your spiritual vein talent is definitely beyond top-grade heavenly level, perhaps even stronger than a sacred body. He gazed at me intently, and spoke each word slowly. If I really have to describe it, I think there's a word that suits it best. Heaven's gifted divine body. This is absolutely amazing. My heart blazed with excitement in an instant. I was so thrilled I could hardly contain myself. Who doesn't wish to be special? To be the chosen one? Let alone the fact that I'm actually a transmigrator. After being excited for a while, my mood gradually calmed down. Suddenly, something occurred to me. So I asked, Master, how can you be sure? My physique is even stronger than the 10 sacred bodies? Have you ever seen any of the sacred bodies yourself? Su Qing'an's expression remained calm, and she replied nonchalantly, because my own physique is none other than the immortal spirit's sacred body, one of the 10 sacred bodies. Her tone was tranquil and steady, as if she was stating something trivial. I gasped sharply. Didn't people say sacred bodies were extremely rare? How did one just appear right in front of me the very next moment? My master has the script of a true heroine. No wonder she had the confidence to take me on as a disciple. I really wanted to ask how old she was, but I didn't dare. Su Qing'an seemed unaware of my thoughts. After finishing the explanation about physics, she gently waved her hand. 2 jade slips enveloped in light floated in midair between us. Here are 2 cultivation techniques. You need to choose for yourself. I immediately sat up straight. Of course I know. Cultivation techniques are the first step on the path of martial arts, and an extremely important one. A high-level technique can make training twice as effective. It's something countless people dream of, but for true geniuses, the level of the technique is important. But more important is picking what suits your own physique. Only then can you get results greater than the sum of its parts. I looked at the 2 jade slips before me and spoke up. Master, could you please introduce these 2 techniques to me? Su Qing'an nodded slightly and tapped the left jade slip with her fingertip. This technique is called 12 Profound Qing Mantra. Heavenly level, lower grade. It's especially suitable for women training with water or wood attributes. Best for those with such physiques. Of course, your physique encompasses all attributes, so neither attribute nor temperament is a problem. Heavenly level, lower grade. Hearing those 4 words, my heart skipped a beat. A technique of this caliber would cause a bloodbath if word got out, without a doubt. But then again, My master has the immortal spirit's sacred body, so it's reasonable she would have heavenly level techniques. Compared with her physique, even heavenly level techniques seem lacking. Even so, I couldn't help but click my tongue in amazement. Just think. The highest level technique in our the family is only profound level, lower grade. And it's just a fragment. The gap really is like heaven and earth. The gap really... While I was still marveling, Su Qing'an looked at the jade slip on the right, and her expression finally showed some emotion. A slight ripple flickered across her face. She seemed a bit hesitant, and a little awkward, but she still introduced it to me. This technique was created by a sage, and has already surpassed the highest heavenly level. If you have to define its rank, it can only be called a saint-level technique. Now, that's another level entirely. I instantly became serious. Su Qing'an then described it quickly. This technique is called the Chaos Yin-Yang Mantra. It's incredibly profound. For cultivators across the entire continent, it's peerless. A class of its own. But it's actually a dual cultivation technique. My eyes widened abruptly. My mouth opened and closed in shock. I was utterly stunned. How did things turn this wild all of a sudden? Yet Su Qing'an's expression was still calm, with an indifferent demeanor. But if you looked closely, you noticed she was a little uneasy. Obviously, even for someone as aloof as her. Introducing a technique like this was a bit embarrassing. So I immediately asked humbly, "Master, with your experience, which technique would be more suitable for me?" Su Qing'an was only a little awkward for an instant, but her composure quickly returned. She didn't avoid my question at all. Naturally, the Chaos Yin-Yang Mantra is on another level regarding cultivation results. It's several times more effective than the 12 profound Qing mantra. Besides, your physique is special, so there's really no restriction for you practicing this kind of technique. The compatibility is extremely high. Afraid that I might misunderstand, she even explained further. Without yin, there's no birth. Without yang, there's no growth. Yin and yang counterbalance each other. That's the law of nature itself. It's one of the fundamental laws of the world. There's nothing shameful about it. I immediately pretended to understand, and nodded emphatically. Since that's the case, I'll choose the Chaos Yin-Yang mantra. To be honest, I still felt a little hesitant. But after Master's explanation, my hesitation instantly turned into excitement. My mind couldn't help but start wandering. From this moment on, I am the first disciple to found the Hewan sect. Su Qing'an nodded slightly. It seems my choice didn't surprise him. For some reason, I silently let out a sigh of relief. He immediately reminded me there's something you must remember. Before reaching the Tianyang realm, you must not reveal your Yuan Yang. My expression gradually froze. What kind of joke is this? Isn't this just torture? I'm cultivating a dual cultivation technique. Just as I was freaking out inside, the corners of Su Qing'an's mouth actually showed a barely noticeable smile. The Tianyang realm is divided into 3 stages. Each stage forms a flower of heaven, earth, and human. The first stage, forming the human flower, is refining essence into qi. After leaking yuan yang, the difficulty doubles. Although it's not difficult for you, it's best not to waste the golden period of cultivation.
Especially during this prime time.
Then Su Qing'an paused. He looked at me seriously. To a martial artist, techniques are just tools. Yin-yang union doesn't mean indulging in desire. You need to understand this, and firmly hold on to your true self. I straightened my face. I know Master's looking out for me. I nodded earnestly. Disciple understands. But in my heart, I was still screaming. The Tianyang realm. That'll take forever to reach. Su Qing'an nodded with relief. I grabbed the opportunity and continued to ask, since Master has mentioned saints, what exactly is a saint's realm? How are the realms after Tianyang divided? Qingyang City is just a remote small city. Even in the whole Zhuanshan kingdom, it's just a tiny dot. When it comes to knowledge about cultivation, I'm honestly very lacking. Su Qing'an continued to patiently explain to me. I felt like today he spoke, more than in all the previous years combined. Currently, martial artists are divided into 11 realms. The 4 human Tao realms, body severing, meridian opening, spirit gathering, and sea rotation. The 3 heaven realms, Tianyang, Tianyuan, Tianmen. Beyond that are phantasm, breaking, and nirvana. After passing the 9 tribulations of nirvana and mastering the laws, one becomes a saint. In the present province of Tianjin, there hasn't been a saint for tens of thousands of years, not to mention a saint. Even nirvana-level experts are almost impossible to find. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. Mastering the laws. Can you even still be called human? It's really beyond my imagination. Just how powerful is a saint? Can they really make their words become law? These bug-like experts, each of them is a shining wave in the river of history, able to shine for 10,000 generations. Master, is it true that Tianyang-level experts live for 1,000 years? I kept pressing. Of course, Su Qing'an nodded. For every flower formed in Tianyang, you gain 300 years of lifespan. 3 Heaven Realm experts have a maximum lifespan of 3,000 years. Phantasm Breaking Realm is 6,000 years. Domain Realm is 9,000 years. Nirvana Realm is 30,000 years. As for the lifespan of a saint, even I don't know, just from ancient records and legends. It can be vaguely inferred to be about 100,000 years. Damn, now I'm truly shocked. These people are basically old monsters. It's even longer than the civilization history of Blue Star in my previous life. My heart suddenly burned with excitement. No wonder everyone wants to get stronger. Besides power and status, long-lasting life is what everyone truly craves. But at the same time, I became cautious. 2. By this reasoning, on this continent, who knows how many old monsters have lived for countless years. Of course, the maximum lifespan is only theoretical. In reality, few martial artists live even half of that, just like ordinary people theoretically living past 100. But their bodies are already aged by their 50s or 60s. Master, what realm are you in now? Tanmen realm, Master. I have one last question. Ask away. Is the technique you practice the 12 Schwanking formula? Before I finished speaking, Su Qing'an's figure vanished from the spot, leaving only a cold voice. It's getting late. Get some rest. In the end, I still couldn't fall asleep right away, because I haven't eaten yet. When I said that, Supreme Su Qing'an clearly froze for a moment. For someone like him, a 3 Heaven Realm expert, he hasn't needed to eat for ages. Eating is probably a distant memory for him, but he reacted quickly. I saw Su Qing'an walk outside the house, with a gentle wave of his hand. The stones on the ground gathered and stacked up on their own. A stove appeared out of thin air like that. Then the trees nearby were uprooted, stripped and split automatically. In the blink of an eye, a wooden house identical to Master's was built. Just like that. Looks like I'll be living here from now on. The remaining scraps were made into 2 sets of bowls and chopsticks. The whole process was smooth and effortless, like he was moving at 8 times speed. When I walked outside, Master had already taken out pots and pans from his spatial ring, and some cuts of meat and vegetables I couldn't name. He lit the wood, and actually started cooking food. I was absolutely stunned. I didn't expect a fairy like Master would actually cook. Watching this scene in front of me, Su Qing'an, usually cold and transcendent, was now seriously making food for me. Warmth inexplicably flooded my heart. The sky was gradually tinted with sunset. The evening breeze was gentle, cool and pleasant. Master and I, one big and one small, sat across from each other at the stone table in the yard. Meanwhile, in a distant secret room in the Zhuanshan royal palace, dim white candlelight flickered in the dark corridor, like ghost flames burning for who knows how long. Suddenly, hurried footsteps broke the silence. A figure passed through the darkness, arriving at the secret chamber. At the door, the visitor wore an ornate bright yellow robe. His expression was dignified. This was Zhao Youji, the current king of Xuanshan. His expression kept changing, sometimes excited, sometimes very solemn.
Ancestor.
A genius with a top-tier Tian-level spiritual vein has emerged in our country. Zhao Yaoji stood at the door and stated concisely, long. As soon as he finished speaking, the gate, unopened for 200 years, suddenly swung open. 2 golden lights shot out from inside the chamber. Zhao Youji's vision blurred. The next second, an old man appeared before him, staring intently at him. Using a hoarse voice, he asked, "Are you certain?" If anyone else was present, they would be utterly shocked. This old man was none other than the Zhao family ancestor, who founded the Xuantian kingdom 800 years ago. This old guy is actually still alive. He was already a Tianyang level expert 800 years ago. How could anyone possibly live another 800 years? There's only one answer.
He has already advanced to the heavenly origin stage.
But even so, the heavenly origin expert's face was still full of utter disbelief. Zhao Yaoji nodded emphatically. At the entrance of Xuantian Academy, in full view of everyone, 6 Sun Realm experts witnessed it firsthand.
It's absolutely impossible to fake.
After a long silence, the Zhao family patriarch suddenly broke into manic laughter. Excellent. Zhao Yaoji stood aside, a bit confused. This kind of genius is indeed astonishing. But why is the patriarch so happy? After all, he's not from the royal family. He laughed for quite a while, before finally calming down. He then asked, "Where is this prodigy now?" Zhao Yaoji replied, "His name is the Chun. He has now become the disciple of a mysterious woman at Zhuanshan Academy." The Zhao family patriarch raised an eyebrow. A mysterious woman? When did Zhuanshan Academy produce someone like that? Daring to take a genius with a top-tier celestial vein as a disciple. She can't be one of Zhuanshan Academy's own. Zhao Yaoji explained. Apparently she is Principal Shangan's friend. She returned with him 6 years ago, and went into seclusion at the academy. She's only known as Su Qing'an, but nothing else is known about her rank or background. Su Qing'an's family name is Luo. The Zhao family patriarch fell into deep thought, as if he was trying to remember something. Suddenly his whole body trembled, and a look of indescribable terror appeared in his eyes, like he had recalled some powerful clan. He took a deep breath and said, "Whatever the case, a top-tier celestial genius is not someone we dare covet." Zhao Yaoji nodded in complete agreement. But then the Zhao family patriarch changed his tone. "Select the most talented girl among the eligible women in the Wang family, and talk to the Shan's parents. See if they're willing to arrange a marriage alliance. Even if she goes as a concubine, it's fine. Remember, absolutely no pressure on them. Be sure to show them the utmost goodwill from our Wang family." Zhao Yaoji immediately grew excited. It was exactly what he wanted. "Rest assured, patriarch, I will take care of this." Countless stars twinkled in the night sky. After dinner, I walked into the wooden house that Master had built for me. There shouldn't be any formaldehyde in a new house, right? I shook my head, shoving that absurd thought out of my mind. The wooden house was identical to Master's place. A fist-sized orb glowed in the middle, casting bright and gentle light. The 2 wooden houses were extremely close, separated by just a couple of wooden boards. Any noise should be easy to hear clearly. Strangely, I didn't hear a sound from Master at all. Are Heavenly Gate cultivators really that quiet when they walk? I stopped overthinking, quickly sat cross-legged on the bed, so excited I could barely contain myself. I can finally start cultivating. For someone who came from Blue Star, the temptation is just too much. I closed my eyes, focused my mind, and started to sense the spiritual energy in the world. For an ordinary person, this might take a stick of incense or even an hour. But for me, it's as easy as drinking water. Almost instantly, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth seemed to respond, rushing toward my body like a flood. I immediately began using the Chaos Yin-Yang technique Master taught me, guiding and absorbing this spiritual energy. Boom! Just then, my mind felt like it had been smashed by a hammer, and my consciousness plunged into utter darkness. Suddenly, a ray of brilliant golden light tore through the darkness, falling from the heavens. It was vast and mighty with an awe-inspiring presence. I instantly snapped awake, overwhelmed with excitement. I shouted in my heart, "It's him!" 6 years ago, it was this bright, warm light that carried my soul and brought me into this new life. And now he appeared again, just as I was awestruck by the glow. In the wooden house separated by only a wall, my master, Su Qing'an, was also restless, though Master sat cross-legged with eyes closed on the bed, expression cold and calm, exuding an ethereal aura, as if cultivating seriously. There was a faint crease in his smooth, pale brows, revealing his inner turmoil. His thoughts had long since drifted far away, back to the top of a majestic, mystical mountain years ago. A handsome and dignified man stood with hands behind his back, brimming with grace and poise. A woman with a frosty demeanor stood beside him. It was Su Qing'an herself. At this moment, Su Qing'an was frowning at the jade slip in her hands, asking, confused, "Master, what does this mean?" The jade slip recorded, "None other than the chaos yin-yang technique." The man replied, "You cultivate too high heartless record, which is indeed effective, but it's also made you increasingly cold and detached. Can someone who is heartless truly feel nothing? I'm afraid you won't become a sage, but will turn yourself into the Tao instead. That's why I want you to switch to this technique, to experience desire and emotion, and temper your character through it." The man paused for a moment, then continued, "Last night there was a celestial sign. I examined it for a long time, and sensed a mysterious pull that has landed upon you. It seems to be a sign of destiny. You can go seek it out." Disciple understands, drawing his mind back from memory. Su Qing'an's gaze grew distant. Chaos yin-yang technique. Destiny, the Chun, God-given body. At this moment, Su Qing'an finally understood what it all meant. The sign has appeared, fate has been sealed. Even he found this thought ridiculous. He was never one to believe in fate. But when he thought about accepting the Chun as a disciple against his better judgment today, he fell silent again. Perhaps it wasn't just a moment of impulse. A wry smile appeared on Su Qing'an's face. "Forget it. Better just let things take their course. Elsewhere." My mind gradually returned from chaos, and I slowly opened my eyes. Once I got my bearings, my eyes widened in shock. This is the God-slaying sword. I realized I was actually floating in a bright, shining space. And right in front of me, a golden longsword hovered in the air. On one side of the blade were carvings of sun, moon, and stars. The other side, mountains, rivers, and trees. A phantom dragon soul circled around it, staring at the sword before me. I was utterly stunned. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was all too familiar with this sword. Isn't this the toy sword I bought as a kid for $2 at a street stall? Every line on the blade was exactly the same. I'd played with it for over 10 years, so there's no way I'd be mistaken. I even once did that childish ritual of dripping blood to make it recognize me as its master. Could it really be some ancient artifact? My jaw dropped. I could feel a familiar aura from the sword, exactly the same as the light that brought me here. It was clear that this God-slaying sword protected my soul and brought me to this world. My initial shock instantly turned into pure joy. Even though it's unbelievable, that's just how things are. I'm even starting to suspect my gifted divine body is because of him. Is this space inside my mind or my body? I started to think about it. And why did I only cross over for 6 years? And only now when I began cultivating did I see him? No one can answer these questions for me. All I can do is blindly guess with my limited understanding. Could it be because there's spiritual energy inside me now? And something triggered to bring me here? I feel like my guess actually makes a lot of sense. The sword is meant for combat. With doubts in my mind, I reached out my right hand. I slowly grasped the hilt. There was no rejection at all. And not a single strange sound either. I just naturally held it. That dragon soul phantom looked even more lively. I really can use it. I was stunned for a moment. Then I was overjoyed. The instant I grabbed the God-slaying sword, I felt as though I possessed the power to rule over everything. I sensed a vast, irresistible force. It felt like I could split the heavens with just a single swing. Even the sky could be cut open. Isn't this basically cheating? Am I just invincible now? Gulp High couldn't help but swallow. I murmured quietly to myself. To all those veteran transmigrators, I swear this isn't my fault. Everyone else has a system. I don't even have a single assistant. I don't know how, but I just feel like I'm already invincible. One kept mumbling to myself for a while, until I finally calmed down, holding the God-slaying sword. I carefully tried to sense it. Soon I understood. The sword is really usable, but it seems to be linked to my own abilities. Simply put, if I have mana, it consumes mana. No mana? Then it consumes health. My expression slightly changed. But then I thought it over, and realized it's actually normal to wield power that doesn't belong to my level. How could there not be some kind of price? I know lots of cultivators who use life-saving weapons, and their sacrifices are way bigger than mine. Sometimes they lose talent or their lifespan gets drastically reduced.
Besides,
Even if I just use the god-slaying sword as a regular weapon, its power is probably way beyond my current realm. And it has no side effects at all. Once I figured all that out, I nodded with satisfaction. As for whether this sword has any other secrets, I can't investigate it with my current strength. I'll just have to slowly uncover them in the future. With a thought, my mind withdrew from that space. The next second, I opened my eyes, only to find I was still in the wooden cabin, even still meditating in the cultivation pose. Looks like the god-slaying sword really is inside my body. I thought silently. I originally wanted to take it out and take a good look at it in the real world. But Master Su Qingyan is right next door. I have no idea how strong cultivators at the Heaven Gate stage really are. I don't know at all. What if he has some snack-type items that let him monitor me at any time? I had to give up on that idea. I composed myself and got back to cultivating. It all happened so suddenly just now. I didn't get to carefully feel it. Now, with a calm mind as I cultivate, I only feel like I've become a giant vortex, madly absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. This cultivation speed is just insane. No wonder it's a saint-level method. I secretly felt a thrill inside. I quietly adjusted myself a bit, my posture. But the side effects are way too obvious. I'm still just a 6-year-old child. After Grandpa the Chongming sent me to Zhuanshan Academy, he didn't rush back to Qingyang City. He found the most famous restaurant in the capital and checked in high profile. It's not to show off. It's just so the scattered Qin family group can find their way there. Plus, news of me having a heaven level, high-grade spiritual vein has already blown up. As a grandpa, it's impossible for him to stay low-key. Too many local forces are following along, all wanting to establish ties with us. When they can't see me, the main character, they go through my family. So all kinds of big shots came in droves. All after one thing, marriage alliances. Grandpa couldn't help but laugh and cry. But he was clear-headed and politely refused every one of them. Until 7 days later, Zhong rushed in with his group. Grandpa saw the commotion and was shocked. What happened? At this point, Zhong didn't look like a big shot from Qingyang City at all. He looked dispirited, like a wilted eggplant. Of the original 11 elders he brought, now only 4 remained. But all of the family members. Not one was missing. Just everyone was feeling really low. An elder of the family explained in a deep voice, "Patriarch, ever since we parted that day, we were attacked 6 times. The assailants were absurdly powerful. We couldn't fight back at all. They were all after Wushuang. When they couldn't catch him, they forced us to give up his whereabouts. They feared the family, so they didn't dare kill us. But with the Qin family, they weren't so polite. 6 Qin family elders were either killed on the spot or tortured to death." Grandpa fell silent, looking at the once confident Zhong, who now resembled a stray old dog. Any comforting words felt utterly empty. After all, the family was untouched. Anything said now would just sound insensitive. After a long time, Grandpa solemnly promised Brother Qin, "This started because of the family. We will absolutely not stand by and watch." The Qin family's grudge. Is the family's grudge? Zhong nodded numbly. Then the family elder couldn't hold back the question he'd been dying to ask for so long. "Patriarch, we heard Wushuang's spiritual vein is heaven level and high grade. Is that true?" Everyone instantly focused on Grandpa. Grandpa nodded and briefly explained a few things. Heaven bless the family. That elder was moved to tears. It felt like an ordinary person suddenly winning hundreds of millions in the lottery. Completely uncontrollable. Even Zhong's pale face finally showed some color. The gloom in the room was swept away. Just then, there was a loud knocking at the door, accompanied by the sound of armor. "Is the family patriarch here?" The voice was deep and solemn, with an undeniable sense of authority. Grandpa hurried to open the door. A middle-aged man in a blue robe stood outside, with an elderly man behind him, eyes closed in meditation. Grandpa glanced at the old man and felt a chill in his heart. A powerhouse at the Tianyang stage. Who is this middle-aged man? To have a Tianyang expert as a bodyguard? Jia Yoji, at your service. The middle-aged man smiled slightly. Grandpa was stunned, then inhaled sharply.
His knees almost buckled for a bow.
Greetings, Your Majesty Xiaoyoji, sovereign of Xuanshan Nation. In this world where strength is everything, the royal family is the greatest power. Usually to the royal family, the family is like ants. Now that the national sovereign has come in person, Grandpa was overwhelmed with both awe and anxiety. Even though I'm impressive now, the respect and reverence built up over these decades can't just disappear overnight. No need for formalities. Xiaoyoji smiled and waved her hand. So, Patriarch, aren't you going to invite me in to sit? Grandpa hurriedly stepped aside. My apologies. Your Majesty, please come in. Inside, the whole group stood ramrod straight, already frightened stiff. They all paid their respects in unison. Xiaoyaji, on the other hand, seemed quite easygoing. Her gaze swept over Morangjong. She seemed to have sized things up in her mind. After some empty, meaningless pleasantries, Xiaoyaji finally got to the point. I've come here today because I do have a small matter to discuss with Patriarch. Grandpa tensed up. He immediately understood the situation. Here we go again. Another marriage alliance. Right now, I'm the hot commodity everyone wants. Everyone wants a piece of me. If it were just an Earth-grade spiritual vein, the royal family might still act reserved. But with a top-tier heaven-grade vein, even the ruler has to come in person. Your Majesty, please go ahead. Xiaoyoji grinned and dropped a bomb. I have a daughter. She's 7 this year. A top-grade Zhuan-level spiritual vein. I wonder if she could be betrothed to the Kirin child of the family. As expected, Grandpa looked troubled. But Xiaoyoji didn't press him. Instead, she turned to look at Morangjong. After a round of flattery, she praised the Qin family's boldness. Morangjong, standing straight, was flattered and startled.
He quickly declared his loyalty,
saying the two families had always been close. Xiaoyoji listened and gave a deeply meaningful smile. I know that the Morong Patriarch's granddaughter is already betrothed to the Kirin child of the family. But for a strong man, having several wives is pretty normal. The Shan is bound to become famous throughout the continent. So having a few soulmate beauties is nothing out of the ordinary. That was an exceptionally skillful remark. To Morangjong, it meant don't worry. I'm not going to force you to break off the engagement. To Grandpa, it meant, as long as there's a marriage alliance, your grandson gets a wife for nothing, and can freely use royal resources in the future. Grandpa was truly tempted. I mean, this is the royal family. They used to be way out of our league, but now they've come knocking themselves. But after thinking about it, he sighed. Your Majesty, your sincerity is unquestionable. It's just that Wushuang is only 6 years old now. If I arrange so many engagements for him now, I'm afraid when he grows up he won't be too happy about it. Grandpa gave a wry smile and brought out his shield. Besides, Wushuang has already become Su Fairy's apprentice. So some things, as his grandfather, I'm really not in a position to decide. Your Majesty, why not go discuss things with Fairy Su? Xiaoyaji frowned, but soon relaxed. True, if Su Qing'an says focus on martial arts and no romantic relationships, who dares argue? In order not to ruin a good thing, Xiaoyoji let it go smoothly. I'll of course consult with Fairy Su first. I was careless this time. Let's not talk about this anymore today. Early the next morning, the first ray of sunlight sliced through the clouds like a sword. Zhanyuan Academy, Jade Bamboo Lodge, 781,782. I'm holding a wooden sword in my hands, repeating the slashing motion mechanically. My voice is so young it trembles. My arms are aching like they're filled with lead. Su Qing'an is standing right beside me. Her skirt billows. She fixes me with a cold, emotionless stare. Half an hour ago, she hauled me up for special training. To put it simply, body strengthening is all about torturing your muscles and bones. Since I have the sword cheat, of course I chose sword training. 981,982. My clothes were soaked through with sweat a long time ago. My vision is a blur. I'm moving purely by muscle memory now. All my strength is gone. Su Qing'an's requirements are simple and borderline insane. 1,000 full force swings of the sword. For a 6-year-old child, this is basically torture. I grit my teeth stubbornly. My mind stretched to its limit. Talent is a gift from the heavens. But if you want to get stronger, Willpower is your real weapon. Keep going, you must persist. 999. 1000. The moment I swing the last strike, my body just shuts down. I collapse straight down. But the hard ground I expected never comes. Instead, I fall into a warm, delicately scented embrace. Su Qingyan catches me and picks me up princess style, steadily walking toward the wooden cabin. On her perpetually cold face, there's finally a trace of satisfaction. Looks like I didn't let my master down. When I wake up, I'm soaking in a wooden tub. The water is scalding hot. The smell of herbs fills the air. This is a medicinal bath worth a fortune. Over 100 rare medicinal ingredients. Its effects are insanely potent. Master set my routine as 3 baths per day. Anyone else doing that would be ruined in no time. But my constitution is special. For me, it's pure nourishment. It's so comfortable that I can't help but hum a little. But the moment I open my eyes, I'm instantly wide awake. I'm sprawled out in every direction, feeling a chilly breeze. Crap, where are my clothes? I shudder and duck into the water, leaving just my head sticking out, nervously looking around. Su Qingyan isn't in the room. Master? I call out tentatively toward the courtyard. What is it? A cold voice drifts in. Nothing. I breathe a sigh of relief. Honestly, this sort of feels like waking up from a nap as a kid. And being comforted by hearing your parents' voices. This medicinal bath is really pretty nice. I lean back against the tub, totally at ease. Come eat once you're done with the bath. Got it. I'm just over here enjoying myself, completely unaware. That right then, outside, Su Qingyan was frowning in the courtyard, obviously bothered by something. A few minutes earlier, outside the bamboo grove, Zhao Yoji looked at the maze array, totally confused. He's at least a 9th level wheel C-stage expert, but can't even see through the protection array. The Tianyang realm bodyguard behind him had stared for ages and could only shake his head. No clue at all. Even a gatekeeper can't get past this. This fairy Su really is extraordinary. Zhao Yaoji let out a sigh and could only call out from outside. Zhao Yaoji of the Tangshuan royal family is here to pay a visit. A response came from within the bamboo grove. What's the matter? Not even letting me in. Zhao Yaoji was helpless and had to shout from afar. I wish to arrange a marriage between my daughter and the Chun, and have come specifically to seek Fairy Su's approval. The bamboo grove instantly went silent. Only the sounds of birds and insects remained. Zhao Yaoji waited and waited, until even the flowers withered. Still, there was no response from inside. He looked totally bewildered. What does that mean? The old bodyguard behind him sighed. Not answering is a refusal. Zhao Yaoji was mentally crushed. Why though? What reason does he have to reject me? The family is already engaged to the Qin family. Does that mean the Tangshuan royal family is seen as lesser than the Qin family? Zhao Yaoji's own daughter can't possibly compare to Merongjong's granddaughter? Whatever Zhao Yaoji and Su Qingyan discussed, I didn't hear any of it. Maybe it's because the array blocked everything out. But by the time I was dressed and walked out, in my opinion, everything seems calm. I walked over to the stone table and sat down, picked up my bowl and chopsticks and started eating. How did you feel practicing the chaotic yin-yang art yesterday? Master Su Qingyan sounded like he was just making casual conversation. Pretty good. I kept eating, answered while chewing indistinctly. Turns out cultivating and absorbing spiritual energy is actually really pleasant. I used to wonder why there were so many crazies out there. Were they all just masochists? Now I finally get it. Of course, there are side effects. I'm still young enough to handle it now. But when I grow older, I'll just complain about it to myself. Didn't dare say it to their face. After all, it's a dual cultivation technique. Once you break through to the Tianyang realm, find yourself a soulmate. Cultivation will become even more efficient then. Su Qingyan seemed to switch to science mode. I looked up at him. Master still looked calm and aloof as ever. Paused for 2 seconds. I nodded obediently. Of course, it works best if both partners have similar talents. It's not good if there's too big a gap. That way both sides benefit. Otherwise, it's just one person carrying the other along. It's something you might want to consider when you're looking for a partner in the future. Why does this conversation feel a little weird? Talking about finding a partner first thing in the morning, but facing that cold expression. I couldn't find any flaw, so I just nodded again. Disciple understands. Su Qing'en's expression shifted slightly. A satisfied look, like a teacher pleased with a promising student. Finished eating and started practicing the standing technique. For the days following, life became dull but routine. Aside from cultivation, I just stayed in this ridiculously huge bamboo forest. Even though Master and I lived at Zhuangshan Academy, it felt like a separate little world. So quiet it made me uneasy. I was puzzled. Is the outside world too calm or what? The news that I have a heavenly class spiritual vein has already spread. Why are there no legendary hermits? Powerful beings coming to snatch disciples? Or villains showing up to cause trouble? Is it because no one believes it? Makes sense. Who would believe a real dragon could emerge from a place like this? Over the last 2.5 months, I've only seen one other living person. A gentlewoman master called Mew. The way she looked at me was so complicated, like she was studying an unsolvable math problem. Afterwards, I got hit. She left. She didn't stay long. Until one day, 2.5 months later, someone came from outside. Claimed to be an elder from your clan. Su Qing'en called out to me just as I was about to start practicing. Your parents have been brought to the capital. Asked if you want to go see them. Then I'll go see them. I didn't hesitate at all. Su Qing'en suddenly held out his palm. Put this on. I looked down. It was a snow-white, transparent cord, with a warm crescent-shaped jade pendant. I've never seen the pendant before, but the cord. I instinctively looked up at Master.
His slender neck.
Sure enough, it was empty. I took the pendant. It seemed to still hold a bit of warmth. Hung it around my neck. Curiously asked, Master, what's this for? Something to save your life. Something to save your life. How do I use it then? Just wear it. Elder Yi was waiting for me outside the bamboo grove. I greeted Elder though with a smile. Wushwang, it's about time you came out. Elder Yi's old face instantly blossomed into a smile like a chrysanthemum. Excited, waving his hands and feet. TSK, TSK, good kid. You really bring honor to the family. You haven't seen people's reactions when the news from Wangdu came back. Other families looked so stunned. Their mouths were so big you could fit 10 snacks in them. Heaven-class spiritual vein, top quality. I still feel like I'm dreaming. Seeing him so excited, I could only keep smiling. Also, I heard that Nanshan, when he first came to Zhuangshan Academy, wasn't even allowed through the gate. It really cracked me up. Look at those gatekeepers now, being all respectful, inviting me in, honestly leading the way up front. That's an old man's simple pride. I quietly listened to him boast. The two of us walked quite a distance, until Elder Yi pointed at an impressive mansion at the edge of our view. That's the place the family just bought, where we'll stay in Wangdou. Your parents have already arrived. The head of the family is still in Qingyang City for now. Only me and a few clansmen were sent here as the advance team. He spoke with expectation in his eyes. But of course, we all know. Once you grow up, the family will definitely move to Wangdu as a whole. The family is lucky because of you. I followed his finger and looked over. A group of people stood in front of the mansion. Although blurred, the man and woman leading them were definitely my parents, Lin Wanqing and the Chengfeng. Elder Li and I quickened our pace to walk over. And that's when everything changed. The bustling street instantly turned deadly. 7 black shadows struck like ghosts, their blades aimed straight at my throat. Too fast. I didn't even have time to blink. How dare you? A roar sounded in my ear. Elder Yi's face was full of fury. He shoved me behind him to shield me, launched his fists, took on 7 tough guys. But it was all futile. The moment they clashed, Elder Yi's face changed drastically. He was thrown back through the air, not in the same league at all. I shouted. The crowd at the mansion's entrance turned chaotic. My mother, Lin Wanqing's face was full of terror. She couldn't believe her son was about to be killed in a blink. And my father, the Chengfeng, famous for being a playboy, turned red-faced and furious, let out a roar. How dare you try to kill my son? Die, all of you.
He charged over like a madman.
But he didn't make it in time. All 7 killers were high-ranking Wheel C realm. This lineup, only a Tianyang realm expert could stop them. Wushwang Elder the bounced up from the ground. grinding his teeth, but his eyes were full of despair. I was stunned too, but I didn't feel afraid. Instinctively, my right hand gripped the crescent pendant at my chest. The life-saving charm Master just gave me. It's about to come in handy so soon. In the next instant, it's like someone hit the pause button on the world. Those 7 deadly blades stopped 3 feet in front of me, unable to move any closer. What's going on? My eyes showed surprise. It's not time stopping. Around me, it felt like an invisible barrier went up. Now they're so close. I could even see fear and confusion in the killer's eyes. They pushed their spiritual energy as hard as they could, veins bulging on their arms. But it was like pushing a mountain. Suddenly, a furious shout crashed like thunder. The sound alone made my eardrums hurt. Almost couldn't keep my balance. The person hadn't arrived, but the force of the punch hit first. A terrifying spiritual power like the sea crashed down from above. Those 7 killers didn't even get to scream. Their bodies curled instantly like shrimps. They flew off like broken kites, slamming hard into the distant ground. Whether they're alive or dead, who knows? My vision blurred. An elder radiating terrifying energy suddenly appeared. These guys did act fast. The old man looked furious.
His gaze was icy.
The crisis was over. My parents rushed over like maniacs. My mother hugged me tightly, checked all over me. Her voice was trembling. Chenner, you're not hurt, are you? Mom, I'm fine. I shook my head. I keep recalling that earlier scene. That barrier was my master's pendant. Or maybe it was this elder before me. At this moment, the Grand Elder had already gotten up. He bowed deeply to the elder. Thank you, Elder Kang Song, for your timely help. The elder called Kang Song waved his hand, put away his anger, and looked at me with a beaming smile. So this young one is the Chun. Yes, Elder Kang Song. This is the pride of the family. The Grand Elder hurriedly introduced Wushuang. This is Elder Kang Song, Royal Family Envoy, a powerhouse of the Tianyang realm. It's really thanks to Elder Kang Song's intervention this time. Otherwise, sigh. Damn it, who knows where. So many high-level assassins at the Lunhai realm popped up from. The outstanding always get targeted. A Tianyang realm royal envoy. Although I think even if he didn't step in just now, I wouldn't have died. But formalities still have to be observed. I cupped my fists and saluted. Thank you, Elder Kang Song, for saving me. Elder Kang Song smiled like a friendly grandfather next door. As long as you're safe. As long as you're safe. Then his gaze turned cold. Recently, on your first trip to the capital, the Wu clan encountered 7 attacks. These people are most likely sent by the powers behind them. Thanks to the Grand Elder's explanation, I finally realized there was more to the story. When I heard that 6 elders of the Qin family died, my face instantly fell. Those people died because of me. Brother Kang Song, give me a note. A while ago, the king ordered me to fully investigate this. After Yang the left Xuanshan Academy, it gave them the chance. That's why this attack happened. I glanced at it. 7 factions were listed on it. The Grand Elder leaned over to take a look. His face turned green. Qingmu sect, Shui Palace. All top forces guarded by Tianyang realm experts. How can the family seek vengeance alone? Elder Kang Song seemed to be waiting for these words. He looked at me and said meaningfully, before I came, the king asked me to pass on a message. If the family wishes, the royal family can deal with these 7 factions. This is clearly doing us a favor. If it was about the Qin family before, the royal family might not have acted. But now they attacked me in broad daylight. That's an undying grudge. I took a deep breath. My mind was made up. Thank you very much to the king and Elder Kang Song for your kindness. I looked up. My voice was young but firm. Such a blood feud must be avenged by my own hands. Only then can I wash away this hatred. Elder Kang Song's eyes lit up. He praised my courage. Worthy of the name Wushuang. Grand Elder. I looked toward the Grand Elder who was still stunned. Since we've already burned our bridges, Qingyang City isn't safe anymore. Notify the family head to relocate as soon as possible. No worries, Elder Kang Song cut in. The king has already sent a squad of royal guards to Qingyang City. All of them at the 9th layer of Lunhai realm. As for things here in the capital, the king will soon arrange more guards. 2 Tianyang realm experts. They would not stoop so low as to target your little sister. The Grand Elder was overjoyed. "Thank you, Elder Kangsong. Thank you, Your Majesty." Helplessly, I knew I still owed this favor. I could only salute again. The kindness of the royal family is matchless, and I'll never forget it. Elder Kangsong smiled even more brightly. He waved it off, saying it's no big deal. No big deal, judging by his expression. He looked happier than if he'd found money. I bet. He originally came to arrange a marriage between me and the royal family, but ran into this situation instead, and ended up doing me a life-saving favor. That's a huge win. 3 years went by. In the blink of an eye, the path to power is both tedious and long. Zhuanshan Academy. Emerald Bamboo Residence. At age 9, I sat cross-legged on the ground, looking at Su Qing'an standing to the side, totally doubting my life. "Master, are you sure I can skip vein opening?" After 3 years of hardship, I've grown into a graceful teenager, though only 9. I look about 15 or 16. If it were my last life, I'd be a total heartthrob. Zhu Qing'an was still graceful and elegant. There are 9 main meridians and 108 branches in the human body. The rest are fine spiritual meridians. These meridians are naturally blocked. The so-called meridian opening realm is about persistently absorbing spiritual energy every day to clear the spiritual meridians throughout the body, so spiritual power can flow unhindered inside. Then you open a spiritual spring to store spiritual power within. That's where the name Spirit Gathering Realm originates. I was at a loss, but right now I'm only at Body Severing Realm, 9th layer. I haven't even opened my meridians yet. How can I just open a spirit aperture directly? For these 3 years, Master insisted I suppress my cultivation, training my body to the extreme. Others may temper their bodies 1,000 times. I've refined mine millions of times.
Now,
With one punch, I could probably kill a cow. But my level is still just body severing realm. And now I'm being told
to skip meridian opening?
Su Qing'an looked at me and actually smiled a little, showing a breathtaking smile. Heaven-blessed divine body. A physique granted by the heavens. Naturally flawless. Don't you get it yet? Your spiritual meridians are born accessible. I was completely stunned, not just because of this bombshell, but also, holy crap. Master smiled. She's gorgeous. Su Qing'an's voice snapped me back to reality. Oh. I quickly wiped the dumb look off my face, coughed awkwardly a couple times. Master, what did you just say again? I didn't quite catch that. Su Qing'an frowned slightly and repeated herself. After listening, I slapped my thigh, my eyes wide as saucers. Am I sure this isn't a glitch? What do you mean? Su Qing'an was puzzled. Did the path of heaven glitch out? This is clearly unreasonable. No need to open meridians. Just go straight to spirit gathering. Su Qing'an's brow eased, her expression calm. Everyone is different. It's not a bug in the rules. If you must say so, this is being blessed by fate. Wow, while others fight hard for vein opening. I'm basically born with a superhighway. This is amazing. I sat cross-legged on the ground, closed my eyes, and forced myself to calm down, took a deep breath, and exhaled slowly. After repeating this several times, finally my mind calmed. Like still water, I began circulating the chaos yin-yang art, just like in the countless dull practices before, and started absorbing spiritual energy, really focused on the sensation. Spiritual energy flows effortlessly within me. You could even say it rushes around wildly. I used to think everyone was like this, that everyone had some kind of cheat code. But now I realize it's purely because my spiritual veins are naturally open. It's a gift from the heavens. What I need to do next is to forcibly create a spiritual spring inside my body, to completely lock down all this chaotic spiritual energy. I quietly guide the spiritual energy inside me, carefully letting it slowly gather together. Everything goes step by step. It's incredibly smooth. Finally, after reaching a certain critical point, boom, an invisible vortex of spiritual energy becomes completely stable inside me. This spiritual spring feels like my second heart. Each time spiritual energy is absorbed, it passes through it, spreading throughout my body. It's both lively and cool, always keeping my spiritual power full. I let out a long breath, slowly open my eyes. Even without looking in the mirror, I know that the look in my eyes now must be filled with joy. 3 years of broken body. And now gathering spiritual energy. At this moment, I've truly taken the first step on the path of martial arts. Meanwhile, Zhuangshan Royal Palace, Zhao Yaoyi, once again arrives at the secret chamber where the Zhao family ancestor cultivates. This ancestor shut himself away for 200 years. Now, though he's out of seclusion, for someone like him, a monster, the concept of time is very different from ordinary people. A blink could mean half a year or a whole year has passed. So unless it's something important, Zhao Yaoyi doesn't dare disturb him. What counts as important? Now only one thing across all of Xuanxin country. And that's news about me. Ancestor Yechen reached perfection in the broken body realm. How long did it take? 3 years. With his talent, that's not even considered fast. But just the very next day, Zhao Yaoyi, wiping the sweat from his brow, comes once again to the chamber door. Ancestor Yechen reached the gathering spirit realm. The Zhao family ancestor suddenly opens his eyes wide. A clear look of confusion in his gaze, as if he's questioning his entire existence. Why does it feel like you just got here? When did you visit last time? Zhao Yaoyi pauses for a moment, then says nervously, yesterday. The two lock eyes. The air suddenly quiets. The Zhao family ancestor goes completely silent. After quite a while, an aged voice slowly echoes in the chamber, with a hint of urgency. Handle the marriage alliance well. Back to my family's place in Zhuangshan Royal City. Compared to 3 years ago, the family has totally leveled up. They bought up all the houses nearby, demolished and expanded. The family's territory is now several times larger. Though, my dad, the Chengming, still guards the main base in Qingyang City. After all, it's ancestral property and the foundation. You can't just abandon it. But here in the royal city, with so many clan members moving in, the place is bustling. At the entrance, the signboard made of Xuan crystal jade reads, "The Mansion." Exuding grandeur, the walls tower high, the patterns of formations faintly visible. 2 jade lions stand majestic and solemn. Now, the family already has the makings of a noble clan. On the street, a low-key, luxurious carriage approaches slowly. Driving it is a woman clad in armor. The attendant looks fierce. Once the carriage stops, the curtain is lifted. My mom, Lin Wanqing, protects her slightly swollen belly with her left hand. She gets out of the carriage with a servant's help, nods to the attendant woman. Thank you, Lady Liu. There's no need to be so formal. These past 3 years, the family prospered with the resources my master Su Qing'an provided. 3 elders advanced to the Wheel Sea realm. The younger generation's progress is like they're on steroids, advancing rapidly. The key thing is, many freelance cultivators have flocked to the family because of my reputation. Everyone desperately wants to join the family. There's even an absurd scenario where the guests are stronger than the hosts. There are tons in the Wheel Sea realm. Gathering Spirit realm is the minimum entrance requirement. The family is both happy and troubled, worried the guests might overpower the hosts. But these people are very shrewd. They're betting on my future. There's no way they'd mess things up now, even if the treatment is average. Once I grow up, if I casually toss them some resources or guidance, that's their chance to change their fate. Like this Lady Liu who's tasked with protecting my mom, a master of Wheel Sea realm, 9th tier. She got the bodyguard spot because she's a woman. That's why she could be this close. My mom's complexion is radiant. Her demeanor is gentle. Clearly, she's been comfortable these years. She gained status thanks to her child. With a monstrously talented son like me, her position in the family is unshakable. Greetings, madam. Seeing madam walking through, all servants and staff bow respectfully. As my mom walks away, the maids suddenly get excited, faces flushed in excitement. Wow, the lady is really kind. She even nodded back to me.
Exactly.
Young Master Chen is famous all over Tanji Avenue. Such talent. Even the royal family wants to curry favor with the family. Of course, even across the whole continent. There's no genius more impressive than young Master Chen. If I had a son like that, I'd be looking down on everyone. By the way, didn't they say the madam used to be a maid herself? Is that true? Don't spread rumors. Careful, you might get kicked out of the family. Everyone says so. I haven't seen anyone avoid the topic. Second young master used to be quite flirtatious, always goofing off, hanging around brothels. But now he's changed. Did he ever neglect Madame before? He wouldn't dare mess with other women now. If only I could catch young Master Chun's eye in the future. Hey, it's broad daylight. How can you start dreaming already? Once young Master Chun grows up, you won't be a young maid anymore. You'll be an old nanny. You too, HMPH. How can you call someone in their 20s old? Maybe young Master Chun likes older women. Shameless. My mom heads back to our residence. It's the best courtyard in the family. Beneath the old tree, my dad the Chengfeng is lounging on a recliner. He springs up like a coil when he hears movement, rushes over and carefully supports my mom. Welcome back, madam. Take it slow. Watch your step. My mom can't help but laugh. I'm pregnant, not disabled. Besides, even if I haven't focused on martial arts, I'm still at the opening vein realm. My body will be fine. My dad insists on helping her sit down, muttering better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry. Yep, they're really working on leveling up the alt. For a very real reason. It's all because of me. It's my freakish talent that the family elders decided. Whoa, the Chengfeng's bloodline is amazing. Can't waste it. Need to have more children. If another kid is even half as talented as me, the family will be solid. So with everyone pushing for more babies, my dad started thinking, maybe he really does have some special bloodline. So the two began their unabashed baby-making plan. She's only 2 months pregnant now. This kid will be 10 years younger than me. And look at the queen, knowing you're pregnant, yet still inviting you to the palace all the time to chat. Doesn't she know you need rest? My dad grumbles on the side. My mother shook her head helplessly. It's all about that arranged marriage. Sigh, being a father or a grandfather. They all say they're not the ones to decide. I heard His Majesty was even turned away by Fairy Sue. Nothing they can do. So they had to start dropping hints to me, as the mother. The queen and I are both women, so it's easier to talk. I actually really like that little princess from the royal family. One happened to see her this time too. She's a year older than Chenner. She's tall and graceful, very lovable, and she's very sensible. I heard her talents aren't bad either. But so what? Could I really make that call? It's not like I haven't been to see Fairy Jushan myself. Didn't you all become even less sure after I came back? Even though she complains out loud, my mother's smile at the corners of her eyes can't be hidden. Her son is so outstanding that even the royal family is eager to offer their princess. How could a mother not be proud? Speaking of which, my father suddenly asked, when you went to see Channer as master, how exactly did he reply to you? I've been cultivating at the academy for years, rarely coming home. The last time my mother came to visit me, she actually had a mission, to sound out my master Su Qing'an's thoughts. My mother sighed helplessly, and patiently recounted. Didn't I already tell you this several times? It was just casual chatting at the time. But Fairy Sue is very cool and reserved. Doesn't say much. So it was basically me doing the talking. I just told her. The royal family is considering marrying the little princess to Wushwang. But the family doesn't dare make the decision on their own. Since Fairy Sue is Wushwang's master, such things should be checked with your opinion. Then Fairy Sue just said, marriage should wait until Wushwang grows up and decides for himself. It's not suitable to arrange the engagement too early. Fairy Sue also said, although I'm Wushwang's master, marriage is a personal matter, so you really don't need to ask me. My mother took a sip of water and continued after I got back. I told you those exact same words. Yet, all you guys remember is that line. It's not suitable to arrange the engagement too early. You want to be in-laws with the royals. But nobody dares to make the decision. Seriously, my father waved his finger around, acting all mysterious. You don't understand what kind of person Wushwang's master is. Even His Majesty can't get to see her. And she's confident enough to take on a monster talent like Wushwang. Every word she says has deep meaning. It's right to read between the lines. My mother looked at this bunch of men over-interpreting things, and could only feel speechless. Your mom just overthinks things. Fairy Sue has made it very clear. She doesn't care about this kind of thing. Besides, Wushwang getting married. What reason would he have as a master to oppose? It's not like he's, halfway through the sentence. She suddenly stopped. It's not like he's anything. My father looked over, puzzled. Nothing, my mother shook her head, as if shaking off some absurd thought. I was just thinking too much just now. Even though she said that, her woman's intuition kept nagging her inside. After all, the most impossible things are often the closest to the truth. Seeing my father about to press on, my mother quickly changed the subject. I'm fine. I just suddenly remembered. Fairy Sue also talked to me about Ruoksu. Marongzu, my one and only fiancé. How come you never mentioned this? My father frowned and immediately cut her off. It was just small talk. Nothing important. I only remembered it now when chatting with you. My father's face suddenly became serious, as if he'd caught a key clue. Fairy Sue doesn't even care about the royal family, let alone matters of the family. Like you just said, Fairy Sue has a cool personality. Doesn't talk much. Why would she bring up the Chin family out of the blue with you? She held her forehead and smiled wryly. You're really... My mother was stunned too. Thinking it over carefully, it really does seem a bit off. The feeling at the time was just too complicated. My father paced back and forth in the yard, thinking for quite a while. Finally, he stopped in his tracks, eyes a little dazed, and muttered something that faded away like the wind. Since that's the case, we'll just have to wrong the Chin family a bit. Then, the scene shifts. Morning sunlight spills over me. I'm holding a long sword, practicing my swordplay. The blade draws beautiful arcs. My footwork is agile, sweat flying everywhere. At this moment, I'm not just mimicking moves. I'm also listening to Master Su Kingan's teachings. Weapons are external tools. But as you control your weapon, you also need to imagine it as a part of your own body. Focus your mind on the sword. Let your body follow your will. Let the sword follow your heart. Every move shouldn't be rigid or stuck on set forms. Each slash should embody your will. Only then can you truly become one with your sword. My master's voice was ethereal and calm. I slowed down my movements and started reflecting. Focus your mind on the sword. Let your body follow your intent. Gradually, I slipped into a flow state. My forms were no longer stiff. In fact, it was almost like dancing. But every strike through the air carried a unique rhythm. Master frowned slightly, as if something was off. How is this even possible? At that exact moment, even the usually calm Su Kingan's expression changed. You should know, even experts at the void-breaking realm aren't guaranteed to reach peak sword intent. Even for geniuses, that's something for the Heaven Gate realm. But I, 9 years old, only at the Gathering Key realm, and already grasp sword intent. That's just unreasonable. This kid's comprehension is terrifying. Master was shocked inwardly, but didn't interrupt me. I was immersed in this wondrous state, only stopping after a long time. I looked at my master, face full of excitement. Master, I feel like I've learned something new. Master quickly returned to a calm expert's demeanor and said coolly, that's sword intent, a form of intent realm. Intent is a strange but powerful force, the manifestation of a martial artist's will and level. Only those with great comprehension can occasionally grasp the intent realm in a moment of enlightenment. Intent is also the foundation of domains, the precursor to mastering a domain. For example, your sword intent, if you keep comprehending and developing it, will eventually evolve into your sword domain. It's the mark of someone who's reached the domain realm, and is a necessary requirement to break through further. Got it, I nodded eagerly. I feel like after understanding sword intent, every move I make is way more powerful. Of course, sword intent has great power, it's not just for show. Master looked at me and began using me as a teaching example. A lower-level martial artist can challenge those above their level? The answer is simple. They must have something unique compared to others. It could be a special martial art or skill, or a rare physique or innate talent, or maybe powerful spiritual energy, and so on. Artistic conception is also one of the keys to fighting above your level. It's like having a strong physique and natural talent, and cultivating a saint-level technique. Within your realm, you'd already be nearly unmatched. You tempered your body for 3 years at the forging body stage, honing it to the extreme. Now, you've also comprehended sword intent, though you're only at the first level of the spirit gathering stage. If you go all out, your sword can cut down someone at the 9th level of spirit gathering. You could even stand toe-to-toe with someone at the Seawheel stage. But you still need to greatly refine your combat awareness. Damn, am I really that awesome? I'm getting a little carried away by these compliments. Can't help but grin. My master shot a glance at me and decided she needed to cool me down a bit. So she casually poured a bucket of cold water on me. Of course, your shortcomings are just as obvious. And that's your lack of combat awareness. My excited expression froze instantly, immediately bracing myself for a lecture. If you were to meet an opponent right now, imagine it as a mirror version of yourself. This special you has everything you have, but has experienced many battles and survived countless life or death moments. Their combat awareness is vicious and experienced, and their will is unbreakable. Facing such an opponent, how much chance do you have to win?
Hearing this, my scalp tingles.
I'm basically guaranteed to die here, aren't I? That level advantage is gone. So how am I supposed to win? What, you think this is a movie? Am I supposed to rush up and dramatically shout, "Don't underestimate our bond," and then knock them out with one punch like an idiot? The more I think about it, the more nervous I get. Sweating all over, this doesn't feel right. Looking at my situation, the more I think about it, the more I seem like one of those genius antagonists in novels who only exist to help the protagonist level up. Talented, powerful, with a great background, shows up with all the hype, but due to lack of real battle experience, ends up being countered by some underdog protagonist, and gets famous stepping on my corpse. Damn, it's getting more accurate the more I think. Master noticed how tense I looked, like I was facing a great enemy, and a subtle smile crept onto her lips. She comforted me, of course. You're only 9 years old. You should focus primarily on cultivation anyway. I'm telling you this because I want you to stay alert even in good times, and not get blindly arrogant. But you also don't need to doubt yourself. I looked a little better after hearing that, and nodded. But I've already secretly sworn in my heart to definitely make up for this shortcoming. My master didn't explain exactly how to fix it, but I know that combat awareness basically comes down to muscle memory and quick thinking. Below the sun mirror stage, it's still about competing in techniques. Above the sun mirror, it's like gods fighting, competing in intent, ultimate skills, and the speed of running away. Nobody's going to waste time trading moves with you for long. Master deliberately left things vague, just to give me some pressure. Pressure builds motivation, after all. Breaking through realms isn't that hard for you. So there's no rush. From now on, focus on comprehending sword intent. That's the real priority. Disciple understands today's words. You must remember them well. Your greatest enemy is never others, but always yourself. How do you defeat yourself? Think about it often from now on. That's something you'll have to find the answer to yourself. Disciple will remember. Where did second young master go? My mother, Lin Wanqing, was tending to her flowers in the courtyard, when suddenly she thought of my father who was never home. So she casually called over a maid. She asked, "Did second young master return to Qingyang City?" The maid respectfully replied, "Fortunately, I wasn't there at the time. Otherwise, I'd have gotten a headache from the reason she gave. Supposedly, it was because the clan was migrating, and there was too much trivial business in the capital. So the patriarch called my dad back to help out. The reason sounds grand enough. And second young master said, since madam is expecting a child, there's no need to bother you with small matters. But my father, the Chen Feng, has always been aloof and playful. What help could he possibly offer? If anyone knows, it's my real grandpa, the Kangming. There's no way he'd call him back for that. So why did he really come back?" Staring at his son, who'd suddenly come back from the capital, my grandfather, the Changming, was completely baffled. My father, the Chanfeng, snapped his folding fan shut, and surprisingly looked quite serious. "This time I've returned to Qingyang City, because there's something important I need to discuss with you, father." Grandpa frowned and asked, "Did something happen in the capital?" "There's always some mess in the capital, but none of it involves the family." My dad waved his hand dismissively, then dropped a bombshell. "This time I'm back. It's for Wushuang's marriage." Grandpa relaxed his brows, thinking it was a good thing. That Wang family is bringing up marriage ties again? Didn't I already say, just drag out things like this? When Wushuang grows up, let him decide for himself. But my dad shook his head, looked my grandpa in the eye and said word by word, "This time I came back for the Qin family." "What did you just say? You unfilial son. Outside the hall, the family guards nearly had their eardrums blown out by that yell and quickly pretended not to hear. Inside the hall, my grandpa fumed, his face flushing red, and pointed his finger at my dad, cursing him out. Are you saying you want to cancel Wushuang and Ruoxu's engagement? You disgraceful idiot. How can you say something so heartless? Back then, to protect Wushuang, the Qin family lost 7 elders. It hasn't even been a few years, and now you want to burn bridges. Are you even human? If it wasn't for the Qin family, do you think the family could have made it this far? The table next to them immediately suffered, as it smashed to pieces all over the floor. My dad was clearly traumatized by this childhood experience, swallowed hard and raised his hands repeatedly. Dad, just hear me out first. Luckily, Lunhai, who was offering a toast next to them, came forward to break the tension. Only then did Grandpa barely suppress his anger, and shouted, "You'd better say something reasonable for once. Or else today, I swear, I'll break your damn legs." And then came a string of my dad's twisted logic. He actually brought up my master, that mysterious and unfathomable Fairy Sue. So when it comes to Wushuang's marriage, Fairy Sue definitely has her opinion. And I think she's likely dissatisfied. My dad is a real talker. He's mastered the art of figuring out the intentions of the powerful. Fairy Sue didn't clearly say if she cares or not, but the family can't just ignore it. After all, our whole family is relying on her protection now. Grandpa fell in serving as sovereign is like facing a tiger. In their eyes, the sun mirror is already godlike. Fairy Sue is even more so. Supreme, assuming you're right. Grandpa spoke with difficulty. But why exactly would Fairy Sue be the least bit unhappy about this marriage? My dad shrugged. Who knows? Maybe she has something planned for Wushuang, like marrying into some powerful family in the future. Or maybe she just thinks some local girl isn't worthy of him. Even here, he couldn't help taking a jab at the Qin family. Honestly, speaking of Ruoxu's talent, it might be elite in Qingyang City, but breaking through to the sun mirror is almost impossible for her. And as for Wushuang, his potential is far beyond our imagination.
He's bound for a long, long life.
So having him marry a girl who will only live about 200 years is actually pretty cruel. Sigh, Grandpa was finally shaken by all these words, even though in the end he still insisted no way. Dad could see he was hesitating, and this time he actually showed surprising initiative. He flatly said, "Anyway, I've already decided. If you won't go, I'll go myself. And if I, as a junior, show up to say this, I'm afraid Uncle Chin's reputation will take an even bigger hit." And no matter how hard Grandpa slammed the table, he just threw his sleeves and left. 3 days later, Grandpa was still hesitating, but my father was already standing in the courtyard, gazing at the horizon, looking tragic as if bearing all the blame himself. If blame falls on the Qin family, I'll take it. By the time Grandpa came to his senses and tried to chase after him, my father was already at the Qin family's gate. Time to settle things. Inside the Qin family's main hall, Murong Zhong, who is Murongzu's grandfather, looked at my uninvited father. He was polite at first, but after hearing the reason for his visit,
He crushed the teacup instantly.
"What did you say? The Changfang, do you even have a conscience? If it weren't for the Qin family's help back then, your son would have died early on. Do you really think the family could have what you have today? Dream on, and it's only been a few years. You actually want to break the engagement now? Using others when convenient, ditching when done. That seems a bit rushed, doesn't it?" The Qin family elders slammed the table and stood up. Overcome with rage, the guards behind my father released the pressure of a 9th-level Wheel C realm. The atmosphere instantly grew tense, nearly explosive. One played the nice guy, while one played the bad guy. Quite the performance, honestly. Murong Zhong spoke coldly, letting tea drip on the Kang Ming sent a junior to your door. How dare you do this? Or do you not dare at all? My father steeled himself and stepped forward. In front of Uncle Qin, I'm obviously the junior, but I'm also Wushuang's father.
His marriage.
I believe I have the right to decide. He even spoke bluntly, stating it was his own decision. Uncle Qin, please calm yourself. Please let me finish. My father continued his argument. I do want to dissolve the marriage, that's true. But the family has never betrayed the Qin family, as long as Uncle Qin wishes. Our families can select another worthy child for marriage. To be honest, why must Ruoxu marry Wushuang? You know as well as anyone, with Wushuang's talent, he'll surely live a long life. As for Ruoxu, I'll be blunt, even if she has enough resources, can she break through to the Tianyang realm? Forcing these two together, wouldn't it just be painful for them both? That hurts to say. Merongjong waved his sleeves, mocking. Do you take marriage as a joke? I think I get it now. You just believe my Ruoxu isn't worthy of the Chun. Why bother coming up with so many excuses so full of virtue? It's all about saving the family's face. Doing and pretending both. It's ridiculous, really. Just when things couldn't be more awkward, the main character arrived. Grandpa's clear voice came from outside. Merongzu appeared at the door. She was only 11 that year, but already cold and pure like winter's snow. Her calm gaze seemed to ignore everyone present. She asked for the marriage contract. As everyone's eyes showed confusion, she took it. Her tone disturbingly calm. The Chan thinks I'm not good enough for her. The next moment, something shocking happened. Her pale fingertip suddenly sparked with blue-white flame. It was spiritual energy bursting forth. 11 years old and already in the giant spirit realm. The whole room froze in disbelief. Even my father felt a chill shoot to his scalp. The marriage contract burned to nothing in the flames. I don't necessarily fancy him either. Merongzu tossed this line, turned and left, not even sparing a glance at my father. That departure was pretty impressive. Only then did Grandpa hastily arrive at the scene, just barely passing Merongzu at the door. He could only look around at the mess and listen to Merongjong laughing loudly. I knew it. A child of the Chin family would never be someone's lackey. So what about an engagement? From now on, Chin and the families owe each other nothing. No ties whatsoever. After all this, Merongzu muttered to herself in her room. If anyone had overheard, they would have died of fright. She was bragging a bit much. Heaven-class top spiritual vein. Nobody knows what physique that kid actually has. That kind of talent. Even my past self wouldn't claim an easy win. Turns out he's the reincarnated empress, holding a saint artifact, practicing a technique that only trains spiritual power, gathering skills, preparing to transcend and become a saint in this life. She really didn't care much about it. Engagements, but since my father came to handle it, she just went with the flow and tore up the marriage contract. I, Merongzu, will never willingly become someone's wife. In a flash, 6 years passed, crying. I exhaled a deep breath, opened my eyes. Can't suppress it anymore. Within 3 to 5 days, my flower soul will condense and form. If word of this got out, people would be furious others dream of breaking into the Chanyan realm. I've been suppressing it for 9 years now. Those 9 years, this lousy technique nearly killed me over and over. At last, I'm almost out of the woods. Thinking of the benefits after breaking through, I couldn't help but smile. But soon my eyes turned cold. Because some things also need to be settled soon. The debts from back then should be repaid to those 7 major powers. I got up to find my master. Su King'em still carries that otherworldly demeanor. Why haven't you broken through yet? I replied. I want to try slashing Tianyun with Wheel C realm strength. Among the forces that ambushed me back then, some had Tianyun realm experts present. I want to use them to sharpen my sword. Master merely nodded slightly. If that's what you want, just go for it. Strong people don't become strong just by training hard. In the Zhuanshan Academy, I walked all the way through. Senior the, junior the, long time no see. By now, I'm practically a legend here. If I make even a slight move, that's the limit for these so-called geniuses. I touched the spatial ring Master just gave me, feeling a bit uneasy inside. 1 million top-grade spiritual stones as pocket money, plus Earth-class spiritual energy and life-saving holy medicine. Is Master letting me roam free now? Just as I was thinking that, a cold and stunning figure appeared ahead. Hello, Senior Sister Merong? My steps slowed suddenly. This woman's vibe was almost on par with Master, and I really couldn't see through her realm, even vaguely sensed danger. Where did this freak come from? When she walked past me, she seemed to casually glance at me. Her lips curled slightly. Her expression was hard to read. Whispers from around drifted into my ears. Did Senior Sister Morong just smile? Do you even know who that guy is? That's Junior Brother Wushwang. Junior Brother Wushwang is her fiancé. Shush, that's old news now. The family already came to break off the engagement. No way. Senior Sister Morong is now at the peak of the giant spirit realm. Talent is all about who you're up against. Junior Brother Wushwang's talent is just monstrous. You know that as well as I do. It's perfectly normal for the family to look down on the Chin family. I realized instantly. This is Morong Zhu, my former fiancé. What's this about a broken engagement? How come I'm just now finding out, and I'm the one involved? In that moment, a strong sense of absurdity washed over me. The mysterious force behind the breakup trope is ruined. Am I going to become a villain now? Back at the household, young Master Wushwang has returned. The house instantly bustled with energy. Once in the main hall, Grandpa the Changming couldn't stop grinning. Wushwang, why are you back so soon? Good boy. It's been a while since we last saw you. You're getting more and more handsome. I greeted everyone with a smile. Grandpa then turned to look at my mother. Finally, I picked up the little girl with pigtails and gave my little sister the Yao a big kiss on the cheek.
Hey, linger.
Did you miss your big brother? The little girl answered blankly. Our family was full of warmth and joy. We chatted about the family's development in the capital over the past few years. But I had something on my mind. On the way here, I heard that our family went to the Chin family to break off my engagement with Ruoxu. As soon as I said that, the whole hall fell silent. Grandpa's smile froze on his face. My father, the Shengfeng, looked even more complicated. All the elders looked at my father as well. Apparently, everyone had their own opinions about this. My father coughed awkwardly. It was my decision. I looked at him without saying a word. After a long silence, I finally spoke. That night, 9 years ago, the scene of Grandpa carrying me and escaping is still vivid in my memory. Grandpa's eyes darkened. I continued, talking about the marriage alliance. It started because of me, so it should end because of me? As for breaking off the engagement, it was the family who was in the wrong first. I'll go to Qingyang City myself to apologize.
Hearing this,
The elders' faces filled with relief. Then I changed the subject. By the way, Grandpa, this time I came back for something else. Those 7 great powers that targeted our families back then. It's time to settle the score. What? Grandpa suddenly looked up. He stared at me in shock. The elders quickly tried to stop me. Wushwang, isn't it too soon for revenge? Yeah, those 7 major powers are famous across the entire Zhuanchen kingdom, especially Aoki sect and Shui Palace. It's said they have Tianying-level experts stationed there. They still think the family is too weak. Grandpa looked at me, his voice trembling. Wushwang, have you broken through to the Tianyang realm? The entire hall fell silent as death. Everyone was shaken by what Grandpa just said. People who had just been chatting leisurely all suddenly turned their attention to me, their eyes filled with disbelief. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I'm only 15. How could I possibly reach Tianyang realm? No level of talent could do that. Even though it sounded outrageous, everyone still felt an odd excitement and anticipation. They couldn't help but get nervous. Each person looked at me cautiously, waiting for my answer, but I calmly shook my head. Not yet. But it doesn't really matter. As long as I want to, I can break through any time. When they heard that, the anticipation in their eyes instantly faded. Instead, they all seemed relieved. See, if I'd really reached Tianyang at my age, that's insane. Even the word genius would be an insult. It'd be synonymous with monster from now on. Grandpa didn't seem disappointed, though. After all, he realized that idea really was just wishful thinking. A little too unrealistic. He continued, so what realm are you at now? I've barely shown myself these past few years. Besides Su Qingyan, who is with me every day. No one really knows what I'm capable of. Faced with Grandpa's question, I didn't hide it. I laid it all out. 9th level of the Langhai realm. Everyone in the room took a sharp breath. If Grandpa's question just now was a moment of wishful thinking, a random thought, this is a living legend come true. A 15-year-old at the 9th level of Lanhai realm, that's unheard of. Not even fantasy novels would dare write something like that. No wonder I've got a top-tier spiritual vein. What a terrifying cultivation speed. At this rate, how many more years until Wushuang reaches Tianyu realm? This is unbelievable. Even Grandpa was amazed. He'd trained almost his whole life, yet still lost to his grandson who's only trained 9 years. People really can't be compared. Wushuang, there's no rush. In a few years, wouldn't it be better to take revenge after you reach Tianyang realm? Grandpa tried to dissuade me. I shook my head. Now is exactly the right time. Don't worry, Grandpa. Since I've brought it up, I'm definitely sure. No joke. I just want to test my sword against those two Tianyang level experts. In another few years, who knows how strong I'll become. Revenge won't even be a challenge then. Looking at how calm and confident I was, Grandpa nodded and said no more. A Lunhai realm battling Tianyang experts. That's pure fantasy. Challenging experts at that level is risking your life. But with my extraordinary talent and youthful arrogance, only I would dare say such cocky words. For anyone else at the Lunhai level, in front of a Tianyang expert, they'd be completely outmatched. Grandpa secretly shook his head. But since Su Kingen is with me, he's not too worried about my safety. Maybe it's good, letting me experience some setbacks. So I'll become more mature. A dozen days later, our group of 11 returned to Qingyang City. The ones accompanying us were all familiar faces Grandpa, and the 9 elders from back then. Of course, by now they'd all reached the Lunhai realm, but that amount of strength still can't compare to the 7 great powers. I wasn't planning on having them fight. I just wanted them to witness it. After all, they all experienced it themselves back then. We headed straight for the Qin household. The 2 guards at the gate were also old acquaintances. They instantly recognized Grandpa. They said coldly, Master Li, please wait a moment. Someone has gone to announce your arrival. Ever since my father broke off the engagement, the 2 families have grown distant. Many in the Qin family see the family as dishonorable and are very hostile. Grandpa feels guilty, so we've basically stopped interacting. Soon after, someone led us inside. We headed toward the main hall. Inside the hall, Murong Zhong and the Qin family elders sat at ease. When they saw us enter, they didn't even bother to look up. Murong Zhong said coldly, there's no connection between our families anymore. Why has the family leader come? As he spoke, he sized up our group. His eyes stopped on me, and he was clearly taken aback. Then he realized who I was. Grandpa sighed. Knowing we weren't welcome, he stepped aside. I took a step forward, clasped my fists, and said loudly, Wushuang greets Grandpa Murong. Oh, so this is the legendary genius, the Chun? The Qin family was intrigued. All their eyes landed on me, sizing me up. After all, it's been nearly a decade. Only after a close look could they vaguely make out traces of the past. Murong Zhong remained expressionless and didn't respond. I don't mind either. Continuing, I came here today for just 2 reasons. First, my father back then acted impulsively and without proper thought, which led to regretful consequences. It caused the rift between our 2 families to reach this point. Bringing it up now may seem meaningless, but as someone directly involved, it's only right that I come and apologize in person to settle this matter. As I spoke, I bowed deeply. I brushed my finger over the space ring, and a box appeared in my hand. 9 years ago, I was still just a child, but I still vividly remember Grandpa Murong leading the elders to stand up against powerful enemies. That scene is still etched in my memory. The Qin family suffered heavy casualties because of it, which also brought me great sorrow. As for making amends and apologizing, this small gift isn't really compensation. But please, Grandpa Murong, accept it. Normally with the family so powerful now, coming to break off the engagement and then bringing a gift would be seen as an insult no matter how you look at it. But my words are sincere, straight from my heart. Even Murong Zhong couldn't help but be moved. Such a remarkable young man. It's just a shame he's not from the Qin family. Murong Zhong was silent for a long time, then finally let out a sigh, shook his head and said, I understand your intentions. But as I've said, our families owe each other nothing now. You can keep your gift. I said nothing, but simply placed the box on the table next to me. Then I spoke again and revealed my big announcement. The second reason for Wu Shuang's return this time is those 7 great powers from back then. At those words, Murong Zhong's eyes suddenly blazed with intensity. If you ask who hates those 7 great powers the most, it's definitely him. The family didn't lose anyone back then, but his entire Qin clan was lost. 7 elders, the anger and guilt almost tore him apart. But the power gap was so huge, revenge seemed hopeless. Now that I brought up revenge myself, how could he not get excited? All Murong Zhong's coldness vanished, and he stared at me sharply, asking in a low voice, "Are you confident?" I nodded. Since I brought it up, I'm fully confident. Those people got to live an extra 9 years. I'm just afraid they'll die of old age before I get my revenge. Murong Zhong didn't ask further. What do you need me to do? I shook my head. What you need to do is just stay by my side and witness everything. See those people from back then screaming and wailing with your own eyes, and use their lives to honor the elders that died, the attack back then, and the later assassination in the capital. Prove it wasn't just one person's idea. None of the 7 powers are innocent. Justice is the biggest joke in this world. Only strength is true justice. After I left, Murong Zhong was still in an extremely excited state. He wished he could attack the 7 great powers right now. Only then did the Qin family elders notice the box on the table. They walked over and opened it out of curiosity. A strong medicinal fragrance instantly filled the air. 3 pills with faint purple patterns lay quietly inside. The elder exclaimed in surprise. These are aconite spirit pills. What? Murong Zhong instantly sobered up, flashed over to the table, and his pupils shrank sharply. They really are aconite spirit pills. Aconite spirit pills increase one's power at the profound level and raise the chance of breaking through from the Wheel Sea realm to the Tianyang realm. Even if it's only 10%, still makes them treasures countless people dream of. Murong Zhong took a deep breath, suppressing his excitement inside. Such a generous gift. Giving 3 at once. Seeing the desire and greed in everyone's eyes, he shouted coldly, "Snap out of it. You can't even reach the 9th level of the Wheel Sea realm, and you're already eyeing the Tianying realm?" Everyone was startled awake by his shout, and looked embarrassed. Murong Zhong said seriously, "These 3 aconite spirit pills are simple. Anyone who has a chance to break through to Tianyang realm in the future can take one. If nobody can do it, then they will be kept for the geniuses among Qin family descendants." 3 days later, Jinshan sect is the closest of the 7 powers to Qingyang City. Jinshan sect really lives up to its name. I stopped in my tracks and looked up. At the top of a distant mountain, a grand hall gleamed with dazzling golden light in the sun. This time, only a dozen or so people came with me, all eyewitnesses of those events back then. Although the Qin family was amazed at my current level, they were still unsure how we could get revenge. After all, Jinshan sect has many Wheel Sea realm members. How could just a few of us beat them? Seeing how relaxed I was, they had no choice but to trust me blindly. When we reached the mountain gate, 2 Jinshan sect disciples stepped forward and scolded us. "This is the gate to our Jinshan sect. Who are you? State your names." I calmly spoke. "The Chan from the family." On the hall at the top of Jinshan sect, the sect master Li Kangkyung was cultivating. He was suddenly interrupted by an elder rushing in. "Sect master, something's wrong. The Chan is here. He is already at the plaza halfway up our mountain." "What?" Li Kangkyung was startled. He knew full well what the name the Chan meant. He was very clear about it. "He's here for revenge." He quickly asked how many people came, and how strong they were. "Is there a woman who looks extremely beautiful?" What he feared most was my mysterious master. The elder shook his head. A dozen or so people came, all men. He couldn't tell how strong the Chun was. But most of the others were Wheel Sea realm. There were no women in the group. Li Kangkyung breathed a sigh of relief, since that killing god didn't come. This kid is just a fat sheep delivered to me. Young people are always reckless and bold. Li Kangkyung's eyes flashed with murderous intent. "Gather all the elders and stewards. Come with me to meet him." The Yanwu Plaza halfway up the mountain was bustling. Jinshan sect disciples were still training, completely unaware that our group was here for revenge. "Wu Shuang, did you notice? A lot of young girls are secretly watching you," Grandpa said with a big smile. I felt nothing about it. Can't help it. Being handsome is a crime. Morangeon snorted from the side, looking at the Jinshin sect disciples, and sighed. Disciples from prestigious sects really are different. Qin family kids are far behind. Just then, loud laughter came from afar. It's an honor to finally meet you. The rumors can't compare to seeing you in person. Why didn't you let us know before coming to Jinshan sect? A large group came over grandly. Leading them was Li Kangkyung. Nearly 100 elders and stewards followed behind. It was a massive show of force. The spectacle made all the disciples around look over. Everyone was talking. Li Kangkyung came up to us all smiles. I looked calm and asked quietly, "And who are you?" Li Kangkyung was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, "I'm Li Kangkyung, current sect master of Jinshan sect." Li Kangkyung. I nodded slightly. As long as I've got the right person. I brushed my right hand over my spatial ring. I slowly drew a long sword. It was a grade D lower spiritual weapon given to me by Su Qing'an. Li Kangkyung's smile froze instantly. What do you mean? Not even bothering with pleasantries. Just drawing your weapon directly. An elder of the Jinshan sect shouted angrily, "How dare you?" "The Chan, are you trying to start a fight?" "This is the Jinshan sect." The surrounding disciples immediately erupted. "Damn, this boy is the Chan. The genius from back then. He's here for revenge." Li Kangkyung's expression turned grim. "Young friend, what is the meaning of this?" I looked cold and unfeeling. The matter of sending people to assassinate me back then. Sect Master Saitu seems to have completely forgotten. A blood debt must be paid with blood. Today is the day Jinshan sect is erased from the Zhuanshan kingdom. Li Kangkyung tried to contain his fury. "Is this your master's will? Are you sure you want mutual destruction?" I gave a light laugh. "What? Afraid?" "Rest assured, my master isn't worried. He didn't come with me today." "As for mutual destruction, are you even qualified?" "The truth is out now." Li Kangkyung dropped all pretense. A murderous gleam filled his eyes. "With just this ragtag group behind you, you think you can erase my Jinshan sect? That's just wishful thinking." As soon as he finished speaking, Li Kangkyung struck out with his palm. A powerful gust of wind followed, aimed straight at my face. The many powerhouses behind him erupted into action as well. Grandpa Chong was about to join the fight. I moved my longsword, seemingly slowly swinging it out. What a slow sword. That was Grandpa's first impression. But in the next instant, a dazzling sword light exploded. No, it was an afterimage. Grandpa stared in shock. He saw a flash of sword light. Li Kangkyung's movement stopped abruptly. No scream, no struggle. The expression on Li Kangkyung's face was still twisted and disdainful from a moment before. But the life in his eyes had already faded. With a thud, his corpse hit the ground. A muffled sound rang out. One sword, the Huil Si realm. The 9th level, Li Kangkyung died instantly. Grandpa Si and the others gasped sharply. Those Jinshan sect members who just charged forward now seemed rooted to the spot, coming to a dead stop. They backed away in terror, looking at me as if seeing a grim reaper.